Dustin digs.
All right, welcome to the Daily Dose with Dustin Diggs. I got a funny comedian here today, folks. Tom Brown is here. We got the sound effects.
Yay!
He said he's never seen the show, so he didn't know what he was going to because I reached out to him yesterday. And this could be like a catfish kind of deal.
There's a sword on the wall over there. Something could still happen.
Right. You're not out of here yet.
Yeah.
But a little bit of backstory of you. Grew up in Michigan. I was reading some of your bio. You run South County Comedy?
Or South City Comedy Series.
South City,
yeah.
okay. So
it's on South Grand at Apotheosis Comics every Saturday night.
And so we got that pulled up. You got a great show tomorrow night, Saturday. Angela Smith, Winfrey, and there's Sarah Pearl.
Both very funny.
Very funny, I'm sure. Talk about the South City Comedy because I've never been there.
Okay, it's a weekly comedy show run out of a comic book store that also sells drinks. So get your comics, get a couple beers, kick back, relax, watch some comedy. We mostly focus on comics from here in St. Louis, trying to give people a little bit more time than they would normally get at one of the local comedy clubs, or getting people get a little more chance to spread their legs a little bit, spread their wings, so to speak. Yeah, spread their wings, maybe not their legs so much, but it's like, geez, that's that kind of show. No, not that. Off comedy with a couple friends there, and I ended up in Chicago at the IO Theater studying. I never actually made a team there or anything, but because 3 days later, I moved to St. Louis, so I didn't have a chance. But I was in Chicago for a little while studying improv, and I worked I bartended at a comedy club there that was pretty cool at the time. It since closed, and then now, if you don't want to know where the building is, it's now the Laugh Factory. But it was something different then. But we had I got my last show bartending was Patton Oswalt. I saw Hannibal Buress before he got big. He was still featuring then, and so I've always kind of been immersed. Yeah, that was in Chicago, a lot of it, but I've really just performance-wise with stand-up, the last 9 years is really when I got into that.
I went to college in Chicago, Columbia College. This is 20 fucking years ago.
I knew a lot of people went to Columbia College when I was there.
That's how old I am, 20 years ago, but. That's when I got turned on to the improv comedy because obviously I've never heard of it.
When
Chicago had so many great little spots for improv comedy. Would you say Chicago is like the mecca of improv?
Oh, for improv for sure. I mean, you got so much there. I mean, Second City obviously.
Yeah.
Then IO where I took classes. You got the Annoyance there. You have one of the branches of Comedy Sports. It might be the first one, and then you got everyone people just coming from all over the country to do improv. So you got a lot of people doing smaller shows and stuff. I mean, I did some stuff at the Playground I had a team of a couple guys I met doing classes. We did a couple shows, but it was a good time.
Yeah. So what made you decide, because it's the first time to go up on that stage, what was it about comedy that made you have the guts to go up on stage for the first time?
I always thought I was funny. People always thought told me they thought I was funny, so I was like, why not do it on stage and see if I'm funny professionally. So, I mean, the first time I did, the only time I've ever been nervous getting on stage was the first time I did stand-up in St. Louis. I had done one stand-up set prior, 5 years when I was back in Chicago. I was a little nervous before that.
But nerves are good. I find nerves good, though, because I get nervous before every podcast. That's just my body getting ramped up.
I mean, sometimes if it's like a big deal show, I'll start to get amped up. But if it's like an open mic or something, I don't really feel like that. Oh my God, what if I bomb?
Yeah,
now it's if I bomb, I bomb. I'll probably learn something from it. Okay, maybe it doesn't work that way, or maybe these are just weird people. Or oh wait, it's an open mic. No one's here anyway. I hear so many comics oh man, I'm bombing up here on the mic on the stage. No, we're all jaded comics in this room.
Yeah,
I see maybe one scared girl who wandered in and wondering what's going on right now.
Right. Well, that's the one thing that upsets me about the open mics in St. Louis, because it's basically you're just playing in front of your peers. It's
and you're going to see some more cool. You're going to see some more interesting shit. Honestly, if you go to an open mic, I think, but people just don't some guy practicing. No, it's maybe you're going to see. I've seen some. Both good and bad. I have seen some crazy shit at an open mic. Yeah. At Helium once, I saw a dude show up in a full suit of armor.
And do a show?
And he was, by the way, not great or good, but I saw a dude do stand-up in armor, and he even had headshots with him in the armor.
It'd be funny if he went up on stage and just never addressed it
at all. Yeah. I mean, he was trying to tell like some really long. It's like, dude, you get 4 minutes and you're trying to tell a 10-minute long story. Like,
right.
Know the parameters of what you're getting into, and then don't be upset when you get the light.
Yeah.
What? They want me to leave?
Do you still use jokes from like when you first started?
I got some stuff that's probably starting to show its age a little bit, especially if I'm doing a longer set. I still need to use it. Actually, last night at Steve's Hot Dogs open mic, I was like, I want to do this one bit I've been probably doing for 8 years, but I haven't really done much in the last year. I just want to kick the rust off of it, see if it still works. I think it did. And then another joke that's probably like 3 or 4 years old now, but I haven't really done it much this year because I've been really focused on this core set of mine for I'm doing a lot of competitions right now that are like 5-7 minute sets, and I'm like trying to just get that part really strong. So I've been kind of ignoring a lot of other stuff. So it's like last time, I want to work on the old stuff. See if it still works for me.
So you host and you do competition. But what's the key to a comedy competition?
Oh, when you find out, tell me, because I don't do well at them.
Well, I mean, so are they battling? I guess my question is, are they battling each other, or is it just?
It's like it depends on who's putting it on. Like I've done the World Series of Comedy twice this year, and I'm hopefully going to Vegas this year for the main event of that. You get feedback from the judges. Like the first time was, a lot of good stuff. Loved your closer, but this one middle bit, I didn't get it. You should do those jokes I did it as it gets kind of dark, and it isn't really stuff that's me as the character Tom Brown, but it's definitely something different. So I'm like, we'll do this kind of as a sketch comedy piece inside of stand-up. And they're like, I was confused by it. I didn't like it. Like, oh, well, maybe I didn't earn it yet. I don't know.
So they make it kind of like American Idol, and there's judges?
Yeah, some of them are judges. Some of it's audience vote, and it's all eye of the beholder stuff. Like I did another competition this weekend that based off of my hearing the audience react to my jokes and everyone else, I should have placed. And I didn't, which I think kind of sucks.
Shit, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I had to turn it. I was just going to show some clips there. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Interrupt you.
Show some stuff in the background. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it was just there more, and I kind of have stepped away a little bit from the little bit of the club scene here in St. Louis because I just feel I do, for reasons I don't want to go. I'm not slamming anyone. I've been doing more stuff on the road, and that's just been more fulfilling for me, and I get more out of that than just doing the same thing over and over again from the same people.
That I had Mary. I don't know if you're familiar with Mary Jane. She's been traveling.
Yeah. I know. We were both in a festival together in Los Angeles last summer.
Yeah. Okay. She was talking about that on the podcast.
And then I'm doing it again in about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So she's actually going to move out there.
Good for her.
In August, but. She was just saying that she likes to travel outside of St. Louis now. It's a whole different type of atmosphere. You learn more. The audience isn't biased. You're not playing in front of people that want to do the same thing you're doing.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like just a little and also I feel more appreciated on the road sometimes than I do here. Right? Not to crap on the city, but that's just the way it is sometimes.
She explained it so if you go to a small town, they got nothing going on in a small town. So
I know,
a guy,
perfect. Yeah,
Tom Brown from St. Louis.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Right. So
I've headlined 2 shows in the last couple of December and February out in Springfield, Illinois. Not a tiny town by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, they have a really good stand-up scene there. They have some very funny comics. Like one of the last time I did the show at a place called Buzz Bomb. My friend Larry Smith puts it on. Really funny dude. If you ever get a chance to check him out, check him out.
Okay, I've heard of him.
He's great. He's so great. Anyway, he hosts the show at Buzz Bomb, and every comic before me is just killing. And I know I'm going to do about 30-40 minutes. I'm like, oh my god, I am doomed. Like maybe there's a little bit of the nerves kicking in, and it's just but I mean the video, I got a good about almost 40-minute video, and I watch it back occasionally just for it's a little jerks myself off a little bit, not gonna
Right.
lie.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy crap, they're just getting everything. And I'm giving. It was just such a great night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always have comedians come on and they talk about. I mean, do you not like seeing the person before you do too well because then you have to follow?
Oh no. I want everyone before me to do as good as possible.
Right.
Because in the end, that's going to just push me to be better. Like, if someone goes on before me who's just like really like tanking, man, I might tank too. Not out so much out of sympathy, because like, well, I got that's what the hurdle I got to get over. Okay.
Yeah. What type of like audience do you like the best? Like, the club scene, VFW halls.
I like younger crowds. They're a little more fun, a little more into what I'm doing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm in my early 40s now, but people like of my age and older just like look at me sometimes like, what's he screaming about? He's a lot of energy there, kid. I don't.
It kind of like. Pendulum's kind of swinging the back a little bit of comedy.
I mean, a lot of the stuff I do is kind of like, I think, kind of making fun of the whole like narrative of like, oh man, you can't say anything anymore. Like, I'm kind of making like not directly making fun of that, but like I have this joke. I saw a video online. This young guy who's just, I guess, so homophobic he couldn't admit that for $100 million he wouldn't suck a dick for it. $100 million wouldn't suck a dick. Yeah. Like, that's generational wealth, you moron. Like, I'm straight. I don't want to do that, but $100 million, my wife would kick my ass if I didn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that means I don't have to work again the day in my life for one. And no one's all for making that off. And homophobic, dude. Like, right. I've done that joke in front of like really conservative crowds.
Yeah.
And I've even heard these gruff like, yeah, I'd fucking do it. Yeah. Like, it's like, okay. That guy was wearing a Trump hat, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, people say, no, I won't do it, but if the money's in front of you.
Yeah, in front of you, yeah. It's a certain, I sometimes throw in there, certified check or money order, please.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to do it and then not get paid.
Yeah. What do you think of that recent roast that was with Tom Brady?
Oh, man, I watched part of it. Full disclosure, I had COVID at the time and was on like Paxlovid and NyQuil. So I like midway through, I was gone. I just like kind of popped my head. I'm like, I think it was during Tom Segura and Bert's bit. I'm like, I'm turning this off. I've seen some clips and I thought it was all very funny.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some, it's people have talked about it one way or the other, and I thought most of the jokes are funny. I didn't,
research, right.
I was listening to the WTF podcast with Mark Maron and Joe Mandy was I think it was Joe Mandy was being interviewed, and he was talking about doing this club in Arizona where they absolutely hated him. Like, nothing was working no matter what. Like, we respect the blah whatever in this state, and
right.
Maybe I'll just stay home and watch something on Netflix, which I hate to recommend, but like, if you're not going to like someone, don't go see them. It's pretty, or if you don't like it, you could wave and say goodbye and just leave.
Right. That's why I always liked when I would just be a filmmaker, but I always liked just putting on like public access or like a YouTube channel where if people didn't like was
Neil Brennan's new one.
I saw,
what was that?
I forgot what it was called.
Me too. I just listened to another podcast with him on it today.
Been watching the Chappelle show on repeat. Like,
that first 2 seasons were so good.
Yeah,
like that was my like. I really like sketch comedy. I've always been into sketch comedy. I read as much about sketch comedy as I can. Big SNL nerd, and I always think that every decade has its sketch comedy show of the decade. And for that early 2000s decade, that was Chappelle, easily, hands down.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like. 90s was In Living Color.
Right.
80s would probably be I would say SCTV. 70s Monty Python.
Yeah.
SNL
sprinkle here and there.
Yeah. The
90s SNL's good with Friday and all that.
Which is weird because like at the time everyone was calling it SNL Saturday Night Dead.
Yeah.
Like all the press at the time was just shit. If you go back and watch, it's some of the best years of the show.
Best character comedy.
Yeah.
Ever back then,
Chris Farley was amazing.
Yeah.
A fat guy from Upper Midwest likes Chris Farley. You don't say.
Yeah. Well, they're making that Bile right now.
Oh, with Paul Walter Hauser, yeah.
Should be pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to that.
I know how it ends, though. I know.
Yeah, I know. We all know how it ends, but like, Paul Walter Hauser is such a great actor. Like everything I watch him in, I'm like, he's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, it's a movie where he's the security guard about the.
Oh yeah, about the Olympic Park bombing. He's so good in that.
Yeah. You won't even recognize him. It's like, he golfs in that character.
And then you'll see him in like Cobra Kai as Stingray.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just like you believe every second of it with him. Like he's just so committed to what he's doing, and it just pops off the screen.
I think he's going to do good, but what they might like, who's going to play the other characters? Who's going to play the David Spade and the Adam Sandler? Like that's where it could be kind of cheesy.
And you guy could be shabby dooby now.
Right. Nikki Glazer's from St. Louis.
Yeah.
I went to her recent stand-up, just came out on HBO. I actually went to the Funny Bone, and she was like doing her rehearsal, and she was like on an iPad and stuff,
doing notes and stuff. Yeah.
You ever see any kind of big? You said a couple people you've seen with your bartending. Have you ever opened up for anybody pretty big?
We had at my show we had Michael Palisak once. He's a headlining touring comic. He's not. I wouldn't call him like a huge star, but he's been on the late night shows. He's got a couple specials out, and then he messaged me a couple years ago and was like, "Hey, I'd like to run. I'm doing a new hour on Showtime. I'd like to run it at your show." I'm like, "Yes, please and thank you. Come on, come to the show.
Yeah,
let's do this." Yeah, it was a small crowd, but he's like running through his notes and he's trying to get the last beats of his hour down.
Right. And when you go to LA, because you said you were there recently. Yeah. The Comedy Chateau, is that correct?
That's where where I've been performing there.
So that's just a venue out there?
That's a venue out there, yeah. It was I've done my research. It used to be a French restaurant. I found old Yelp reviews for it. It's like, the service was terrible. Like, oh, so it means an authentic French experience?
Right.
Yeah, but no, that was a cool. They have two. It's a small building, but they have 2 rooms. It was pretty neat. One of the shows I saw had Daryl Hammond on it as part of the festival, and
oh wow,
Tom Arnold's in it again this year. Dean Del Rey was the featured act of one of the shows I did. I ended up on the Best of Fest showcase. That was pretty neat. Except I was like the last comic to go up of the entire festival, and it's like after midnight West Coast time, which is like after 2 a.m. here. So I'm just like, I'd been in the room for 6 hours. I'm just dying at that point.
Are there still people in the audience?
There's a couple people up in the audience, and I'm just trying to give it my all, but I'm like, I think I even told them I want to die right now.
Well, how's because it's funny because I went out to LA. Oh man, this is like 12 years ago. I've been out there a few times, but you see all the prettiest people in the world, flock to LA, and so we're like, let's go to the open mic and see, because it'll be all the best comedies. Yeah. And then I went to the open mic, and no offense but it was still like the open mic in St. Louis.
Oh yeah, it's people still. I mean, being a new comic in LA is just the same as being a new comic in St. Louis. Out to LA, you're probably a little more polished than someone who's just starting off in LA. And then I've also noticed like people will just come like, "Hey, I'm from LA. Put me on your show." Like, send me a video. I'm not going to just put you on.
Yeah.
I need to see a video first. I want to make sure you're not just some wacko off the street. I messed up once, and I kind of like glanced through a video, and I was, oh well, they did it at Comedy Works, and my friend said that my friend told him about me, and they didn't do their act either, and it was 2 comics, both god awful. Like it was the worst 2 comics I've put on my show by a lot. And I was like, and they're like, we got to go leave her to this other thing. Cool. Bye. See you never again, please.
Right. Yeah. So what, they just didn't prepare or what?
They were just this, like, I don't even know. It was just the material was really incredibly bad.
Oh,
it was just like,
wasn't thought out.
It wasn't thought out. It was just like all set up, no punchline. And then this editor, why aren't you laughing at me? It's like, cause it's not funny.
Right.
Yeah.
What's some do's and don'ts for being a comedian?
Do's and don'ts.
Kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, just know what you're going to, have an idea, at least an idea of what you're going to say and do, and an order of what you're going to put in. Have a plan.
Yeah.
But also be prepared to like deviate from that, because maybe they're not, like, the audience isn't buying you right off the bat, and maybe you got to like, okay, I got jokes about other stuff I could do. Maybe they'll like this and go do that instead and go off plan. Come and be in the that's is more fun when there's more people, but like just these people, like they came out of their way to be at the show. They paid their $5.
Yeah.
Call them cool. Hey, I was just like, hey, guess what? You're the coolest motherfuckers in the city right now.
I've seen that before. That they're like the energy goes down in the comic because it's not a crowd or whatever. But that
I mean, I'm a kind of a high energy comic.
Yeah, I can tell.
So because normal me is boring. I'd like to see more. You know, some like I don't know. When I first started, there was a lot of comics just kind of like mumbling in the microphone, thinking like, "Oh man, I'm awesome, and this is the greatest jokes anybody's ever heard."
Trying to be like Stephen Wright.
And I'm in the back, like, but like not funny, because this is just making me sad. I don't like, I don't know, just a lack of energy, or like it show me you care.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, and for me, showing I care is like giving you a little, like, hey, I'm here, let's do this,
right?
You know. Boom.
Is it looked down upon to have like notes? Because it
depends on who you ask. I mean,
because I think sometimes it helps if they're going to be all over the place.
I don't particularly like someone who's like, okay, and then like,
yeah.
That's annoying. Like I will, like, especially for a longer set, I'll build a little set list and it's just bullet points.
Right.
And it just, for me, it's just, okay, take a drink, look at that. Okay, that's where I'm at. Cool.
Yeah.
Just to kind of keep me paced, because like I can be all over the place, and if I'm just take a sip of water, take a drink of my beer, just kind of glance down for a second, I just keep on a little pad of paper that big. It's bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Just keeps me, you know, and most of the time I'm doing this, but if, like I said, if it's a longer set, sometimes I'm messing with the order a little bit, but I just need to like know what I'm going to do, and because I don't want to like, oh, did my 40, oh, it's 20 minutes, because I like that 40 can feel like 20. So
you were talking about improv earlier. So you were talking about the Dave Chappelle skit and SNL and all that stuff. What type of skits do you like to do? Because I've seen a couple. I think on your Instagram you had a few.
Probably. I mean, I mean YouTube for sure. I mean, I used to do a lot of sketch comedy here in St. Louis. I liked, you know, because of my, you know, I really get into SNL. I've always liked political humor, political sketches, stuff like that. Or just goofball shit. I like. Either I could be like, ooh, we're doing like this serious political sketch, or like we're just being as goofy as we can, and like what's going to be as weird as possible. Like I think I wrote this one thing as HBO's Mr. Ed. Yeah, it was just like a dirty like I was wearing like a plastic horse mask. You know, this was ridiculous, and I was just being an asshole to Wilbur. It's like the gritty reboot of Mr. Ed. Funny. It was fun.
So you said you worked with improv in St. Louis. What troupe was it?
I did stuff initially when I moved here. I was teaching classes with the improv trick that was still like Bill Kotz.
Bill Kotz. Okay, yeah.
So he had a school here. I was teaching with that for a while, and then
BJ Lang.
Lang, yeah. He's probably see him in a couple weeks. Last time I was out there, he took me and my wife all around LA. Just showed it like this is like I couldn't have paid for that good of a tour. Yeah, like, it was just, you know, so it was really great.
He's been out there about 20 years now.
So I was teaching classes there for a while, and then I had to like get change jobs, and for a couple of years there, I was not doing any comedy at all because I was very like in my career at the time, very in depth, and it gave me no free time, and it was on the political side of things. So I actually had to also watch what I was putting out there because I didn't want to embarrass a client.
Oh,
yeah.
That's why I use a different name on Facebook, actually.
Oh, the Tom.
Well, I mean, because that way your work doesn't vet you or whatever. My real name's Matt, but everybody knows that watches the show. But that way if they try to look you up or whatever. But
I mean, I don't even care anymore. Like I work in property management, so like, like whatever, you know.
Right.
But at the time, I was working for, like political campaigns for political clients, and it's like I had to really watch. Before I moved, I used to do a website called Next Day News. It was like kind of like an Onion, but like it was news from the future.
I heard of that. Okay.
You probably didn't know what I was calling it.
I swear I heard it because
And I went by this name Henry Davis. I took the two names of comic personalities. Buck Henry from who used to host SNL a lot in the 70s, and Tom Davis, who used to write for SNL. I was like, I'm going to put those two together, and that's going to be my name. And then, so like that felt I could write for whatever I wanted. Oddly enough, my client at the time I was working for had Jeffrey Epstein ties and sold him a bunch of land. So I was like, who's the worst guy in that?
Wow.
Yeah. Went to a 4th of July barbecue at Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor's house.
Wow.
Yeah. Did not meet the guy. I have no.
Next question.
Yeah. Have I met Jeffrey Epstein? Have I been to the island? No and no.
Right.
I've been sex ranch adjacent.
So when did you start hosting shows at?
So almost 6 years. Yeah.
Oh, 6 years. Wow.
We took a little break during there was this like pandemic
that happened. What you guys did.
So yeah, at that point we just shut it down for a year and a half. I didn't know if we'd ever do it again, but things started opening.
Virtual shows.
Oh, I hated those. I
thought they were grueling too. To be honest,
man, they were very grueling. Try guys, but oh man, this is so rough.
Right.
Yeah, and it's. I mean. Because you're getting no feedback, direct feedback, and a lot of it's like the drug I'm chasing is that laugh, that feedback, that immediacy,
right?
And I'm not getting that. That's super hard to like for what I do. That's really like in watching I watched a lot of pro wrestling and all this empty stadium shows and stuff they were doing. It was like. WrestleMania with no crowd was so weird.
And the sporting events where they would make this fake sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I think the Denver Broncos had the citizens of South Park in the stands, little cutouts. They're all Randy Marsh and Cartman and all that. Yeah. Which is the best way to go. If you're going to do it, that's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. But.
Yeah. That's funny. South Park, I just saw the new special today.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to do animation like that? Would that be a fun thing to do?
Oh, I would like to do the voices. Sure, I couldn't like.
You got a good. That's what I was going to say to you earlier. You got a good like pacing with your speed of the way you talk. It's like.
Oh, finally, someone says that. Everyone else says I talk too fast.
I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah,
you get it out fast.
But yeah, no, I love like. I remember I watched the first South Park the day it came on in like 1997. I was about to be a freshman in high school, and it blew my mind.
We're about the same age.
It was. And then it was annoying because like I was that kid constantly doing Cartman impressions in high school, and everyone hated me for it.
Yeah, that's how it was. I think. Well, I was a Simpsons guy back then.
I love the Simpsons. Yeah.
I guess they're still on. Right?
They're still on. Yeah. No,
it's great. I haven't watched it in a long time. Yeah.
And here's the thing: is like even a new episode on, and it's still like funny as hell.
Yeah.
You just because you got out of the habit of watching, you're like, oh, it's not as good anymore. Just put an episode on. It's like, oh, this is hilarious still.
Yeah, they got like great. Simpsons has great writers because people that grew up watching The Simpsons to write for The Simpsons. Like,
at this point, Though my favorite episodes are still a tie between Monorail and Stonecutters.
Those are two classics. Yeah. I think the Monorail, is that not Conan O'Brien?
That was Conan O'Brien. Yeah, that was Conan. Yeah,
that's kind of I don't know why you wouldn't think put those two together, but yeah. I think the best season they said is season 4 and 5 is like the top,
like the cream of the crop, right? That was like it was about the time I started watching it too, about that age, because like it took. I grew up in rural Michigan, and it kind of took us a while to get Fox.
Oh yeah,
because like Fox was like hard, like Fox was UPN basically at one point.
Well, that's how it was here in St. Louis. Yeah, it was hard to get sometimes. You have the right antenna. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So eventually our cable company ended up with it. And the cable I grew up with didn't even have MTV, so heavy doses of VH1.
I didn't even grow up with cable. That's how lame I was. Yeah. So you grew up in Michigan, huh? What was that like?
It's cold in the winter, very nice in the summer.
What big city were you close to? Detroit?
I was 4 hours north of Detroit.
Oh wow!
So I was like about an hour and a half east of Traverse City, which is a big tourist destination. The New York Times just did a write up on it.
So you went to high school in Michigan?
Yeah.
So what made you come to St. Louis?
Well, I mean, I ended up I stayed in college in Michigan. I went in the Upper Peninsula, and then that's where I started doing improv. And then right after college, I started taking jobs on political campaigns. So I went to Texas for a while. I was in New York State for a bit. And I got really burned out. And I was like, I'm moving to Chicago. I'm doing what I said I was going to do out of college, which is go to Chicago, do improv. I'm doing that now. So I did that, but it was like September 2008 and the economy tanked. So like I had this back in my mind, like I'm going to get a great job when I'm there. I got a resume now. I do stuff. And then no, it was just one bad underpaying job after the other. And eventually the money ran out. So I started applying for campaign jobs again. And I found one here in suburban St. Louis.
Can I ask for who? Or
yeah, his name was Byron Delir. He ran for state house. We did not win. But 2 weeks after I moved here, I met my wife. So after that campaign was done, like, I guess I'm staying.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we got married, and we bought a house, and we got a dog, and
that's the last campaign you worked for?
not the last one. I was a security guard overnight at a hotel downtown for about 13 months, and which was underpaying and miserable.
To be a security guard at a hotel.
Yeah, like down by Busch Stadium, and it was just like the World Series happened during the time I was there. Like,
all the people being the
it was a total shit show.
Annoying, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You know how many naked dudes I had to deal with? About once every 2 weeks. That's the number.
No naked chicks, just naked dudes.
Always a naked dude, maybe like a flip flop.
Right.
So I took another campaign job in 2012, which paid very well and kind of boosted that part of my life again. So I did that for another couple of years, and then eventually burned out pretty hard. Got married, got into property management, and that was 9 years ago. So
I know nothing about politics. I mean, obviously I knew about Trump. I guess the Trump thing that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But when you do a campaign, like what are you working on? The ground game?
I've done everything.
What's the strategy? Okay.
I've done kind of like, so there's a lot of different phases of a campaign. I've mostly worked field, which is like volunteer recruitment, getting people to make phone calls, knock on doors, get the word out, the one-on-one communication stuff, building that up. I can brag. I made like 30,000 phone calls on my own to recruit volunteers, and that's kind of an insane number.
What's a pitch on that?
Hey, do you know how it's super hot and terrible outside? Would you like to go knock on a door and not get paid for it? I don't remember my pitch.
Yeah,
it was just like, it was like the other guy is terrible. Like I know you're gonna vote for my guy, and that's great, but I need you to help get other people to vote for the guy, or that guy's gonna be our senator for 6 years, and you don't want that. I
know we said we were gonna talk about politics, but so.
We're just talking about the nuts and bolts. Yeah. Like I'm just talking. Yeah,
that's why. But
that's why I'm being vague.
Well, I feel like with the election coming on this year, like we're not going to talk about.
No, I don't care.
But nobody's going to change their mind at this point. Or how
it's not change? It's not even about changing minds. It's about so like for field strategy is like we're working within them. We're trying to push a margin one way or the other.
Right.
So our goal is to go to people who maybe don't vote all the time, but if they did vote, would vote for our candidate. So it's the point of getting them to like, all right, we got to get those people to go out and vote. We had the highest voter turnout in the city the last time I worked on a campaign like that. So
I was watching the documentary. I think what it says is it's whoever has the most like momentum, like when like Obama, like it was hope, and so that's
that was going to be his field campaign was like one of the best ever assembled.
Right, okay,
like
I agree.
What they were doing on the ground was just became the blueprint for a few years. But
that's what wins elections.
Yeah, it's just like because
getting that base out.
Because when if you look at Michigan in 2016, and again, listeners, you don't have to get. I'm just talking nuts and bolts stuff here.
Nuts and bolts, yeah.
No, we're talking about nuts and bolts. Like Hillary didn't have a field campaign in Michigan at all. Field margin of like 3,000 votes. If she would have had a field campaign.
Well, that's why I think with Iowa, it's a different kind of thing because it's more of a ground game. Is
that
correct?
Oh yeah. Like I mean, that's where like Obama would not have won the presidency had he not won the Democratic caucus in Iowa, because their ground team was like on top of it. I've read so much about it. It's like they were going to win that.
I forgot his name, but it was not. It was something Dean or something.
Howard Dean.
But he set kind of a standard too with the internet and the young.
They really built that internet thing really good. But it local stuff that didn't. No one wanted to listen to me. So
what's the difference between like a local and kind of like national?
Money and expertise.
Oh, okay.
So when you're doing local stuff, it's the problem is a lot of the time is going to be the candidate, and they don't want to listen to you. even though you have the experience, you know what you're talking about. Well, I did this and my name's on a sign. Like, cool, not enough.
Yeah.
But don't listen to me. I'm just the guy you're paying to do this, who does it before. And,
right. I think it would be fun to make some of those fucking ads though because I'm a do.
Oh yeah.
Editing.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, whatever. It'd be fun.
Yeah. No, I did. Yeah. I put together mostly the mailers and stuff like this. That's the message we want out. And other times I'm just completely ignored. So like I said, I don't do it anymore.
Do you think the last question about the nuts and bolts? Nuts and bolts. Do you think the negative ads work still to this day?
Depends on who. It depends on who the listener. Like a lot of the times, people are going to like tune it out, or that's all they'll hear.
Yeah.
Because people put out positive ads about themselves. Generally, it's like you put a positive ad about yourself, you attack the other guy. Positive ad about yourself, attack the other guy. And you don't try to combine the two because that just confuses the messaging.
Yeah.
But like. Again, it's about pushing the margin one way or the other.
Yeah.
That's because a lot of people, like you said, most people got their mind up about who they're going to vote for.
Right.
It's just a matter of like getting them motivated to vote.
Right.
Yeah. It's like I think the difference between 2016 and 2020 was motivation.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a big factor this year also.
Well, do you think with them being able to mail in ballots and stuff was make it easier for people to vote?
I would hope so. I mean, people get really hung up on it for some reason. We've always had mail-in voting, mail-in absentee voting. Missouri makes it a little harder. I think you got to get it notarized or something, which is weird. Or I don't know if that's still the law here or not. Like I said, I haven't worked on a campaign in 9 years, so my knowledge of the campaign election law is getting a little fuzzy. But yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, there was a lot more write-in voting in 2020. Oh, we didn't have a vaccine yet. The COVID was still everywhere. Who wants to stand in a line with a bunch of people you don't know?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I did stand in a bunch of line with a bunch of people I didn't do it. Like, yeah.
I last thing I love when the circus though the on Showtime. That's a fucking great show. The circus.
I think I haven't seen it.
It's pretty good. It's about like the back, shows about both campaigns. And stuff like that. It's pretty interesting.
Okay, I think I've heard it, but I think I just resubscribed to Showtime a couple months ago.
That's where I haven't seen it in a while because it's too many streaming.
Yeah, I think I wanted. Yeah, I think there was a couple things on Paramount Plus. I'm like, if I really want to watch that Star Trek thing. So
I know. When is it all just going to combine to one thing again? So we can just pay one big lump sum and get it all.
Yeah. So someone at Spectrum headquarters just went, yes, we're back. We're back, baby.
Right. Well, let's go back to the show here. So
let's talk about comedy again.
Talk about the comedy, but I appreciate you telling me about this because I find that fascinating. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
So this Saturday, you want to talk about the show one more time?
Yeah. We got.
Give me a little backstory on both of these great comedians.
Oh, Angela Smith Winfrey. I've been doing comedy stuff with her for about 9 years. We worked on a sketch comedy show together. Did some sketches. She's incredibly funny. She hosts and features at places like Funny Bone and Helium all the time. Flyover Comedy Festival. Sarah Pearl, very funny. She blows me away every time. She took a little break for a while, but she's back. She'd opened for Todd Barry at Flyover a couple of years ago. I watched her open for Sklar Brothers at Helium. Very funny comic. She's amazing. Both of them are great. You should come see them.
Yeah, we're talking before the podcast. I've had some people that you've kind of worked on shows with. What's some of your favorite, other than these two ladies, favorite local comedians in St. Louis? Would you?
Big fan of Chris Sear. He's very funny. Doing a show. Me and him are doing one of the same show in LA in a couple of weeks. So he's very great. JC Sabala is fantastic. Well, Corey Stewart, one of my favorites, but she's now a Denver comic. She just moved.
Oh, she did move. Okay.
Yeah, she moved.
I try to get her on the podcast.
I think Ron Finger always does something he's always doing something different and very crazy.
Yeah.
But like the first time I saw him, I was like, oh, this guy. The second time I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a genius.
He's pretty good. Yeah. He came and did some skits for us for STL Live. We did this was 2019. Fucking funny as hell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't think that's his real name. I think he has ties
Oh,
to
yeah, I know,
some
yeah,
kind of famous St. Louis family.
Yeah, I can't. Out of deference, I will not talk about it.
Yeah.
I sometimes call him Ron Fingerman because that's funnier to me.
Yeah.
Ronald Fingerman the Fourth. Now Meredith Hopping's also very funny. Teal Pierce, he keeps getting second in the helium contest. He's going to win that eventually, maybe this year. I don't know, but
do they do that? How often do they do that contest?
It starts in a week or two. I want to say.
It's just once a year.
Yeah, and my night is July 16th. If anyone would like to come and support me, that'd be great. Need the fan votes on that one.
Yeah.
So
okay, well.
Yeah.
I'll come out see you.
Oh, great.
I'll come out see you.
Cool.
I definitely want. Yeah, I definitely want to check out the South City comedy because just meeting you today and seeing some of your Instagram stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes on there. I wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to get the word out, but it's a little hard. If you're not, I'm not good with the algorithm. What can I say?
I'm trying to get better with Facebook. I'm trying to get the stuff on other platforms too. It's hard.
No, that's the marketing part of it's the hardest. And that's the part I should care more about, but I also care about the least. Like, for me, I care about the comedy and like, well, if it's a good show, people will find out. No, they won't. You got to tell them about it.
Yeah. Do you do other podcasts often?
I've been on a couple others. Nothing really recently.
Do you ever have ambitions to do your own?
I've thought about it.
Be good.
I've thought about it. I just trying to figure out a way to do it and just do it well. Because I'm one of those guys who was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I don't want to do it half-assed. I want to do it well. And I'm also thinking like, who's going to listen to my podcast? That's my thing.
I think a lot of people will listen to your podcast. I think you're a funny guy.
I pitched an idea to a friend of mine just yesterday, but he's very even in the premise of like I just wanted to tell you this. It's been bouncing around my head all day, but I know you're super busy. And this will never happen. Yeah, it was the name of it would be the Broke Ass Bears podcast. It's
that's a good fucking name.
It's it's a great name. It's basically like the Temu or Dollar Tree version of Two Bears. That's me and another friend of good rapport. I just remember I was driving somewhere and having just called him up and I'm like, oh my god, like this should be a podcast right here in my head. I'm like, this is the best conversation I've heard in a while, and I'm part of it.
What's that Theo? I think his podcast is pretty fun.
Theo Vaughn?
Theo Vaughn, yeah.
I think I've seen just some clips of that one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much out there. The three I really like. I build my week around listening to, which is WTF with Mark Maron, which is like the first podcast basically. And then I got really into Fly on the Wall with David Spade and Dana Carvey. They talk about like the first Nellip times, and then I got into
pacing's different there. So, I love the one where you're saying about with David Spade and Dana Carvey because I love hearing those old backstories behind the scenes of old SNL. Which is
those stories are great. I've read like every book I can. Like, there's one called Saturday Night that came out in 1985. It's about Saturday Night Live with Tom Shales and. There was another writer that first came out in like I want to say 2000, 2001, and then they did a second edition of it that came out a few years later, a couple of years ago, and I got that on hard copy. I got both copies.
What would be your top three SNL castmates?
Oh man, of all time,
I would Chris Farley.
Chris Farley's. I mean, super up there for me.
Yeah.
Like I love. I once did a thing at Helium. They did Night of the Laughing Dead, and I did Matt Foley motivational speaker.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Oh man, it was like I think I did like 2 or 3 minutes of it. It was just random parts of the things, and it's like, but it's just one person. It's super hard because it's it's an ensemble sketch that he did. Yeah. But it's so good. It's so amazing. And then. Bill Hader for me is so good.
Kristen Wiig on
Wiig's good. I like Wiig a lot. But yes, like so Farley, Hader.
I would say Dana Carvey.
Carvey's
just an impression.
Phil Hartman.
Oh, Hartman, yeah.
Phil Hartman was so good. Like he could be the supporting character. He could be the main character. He could be everything in between. Mm-hmm. They called him the glue because he held the show together, and he was in pretty much everything because of that.
Right.
And just so funny. 2 tragedies and on my list and that. But who's your favorite? Who's your top 3 hosts of all time?
Top 3 hosts?
Yeah.
Ooh, Oh man,
I'm throwing out the questions now.
Ryan Gosling, that was pretty good.
That was a good one. Yeah.
He does a good job when he's on there. Who are yours?
Number one of all time is oh my god, this is embarrassing. Buck Henry. He hosted like 10, 11 times he only hosted between 75 and 80. He hosted like Lauren's last show in 80 before he left for 5 years. Okay. They would always give him like, they would write like the craziest stuff, and then the other host wouldn't do it, and they like, well, Buck will do it, and Buck would do it. Like, he also got doing one of the samurai sketches with John Belushi, got cut in the head in the sketch, and then they had to bandage him up, and then he finished the show, but then by the end of the show, everyone else in solidarity in the cast was also bandaged around their head. But he was like, you could see it was like real blood like started to come out of his head during the sketch. So he's probably my number one. John Hamm is my number two.
Okay.
He really needs to get to the 5-Timers Club. He hasn't done it in probably a decade, but I think he's hosted about 3 times, and the sketches he did, like the John Hamm's John Hamm will get me every time, and the Ham and Bubbly with Michael Bublé sketch is
I've
just
seen
really
clips on YouTube about that.
Yeah, I love that. If it comes on my TikTok feed, I just stop what I'm doing and watch.
The last full show I watched was the Shane Gillis one.
Yeah, there's some good sketches in that.
Good sketches in that one. He has some really funny sketches. He does a good Trump impression. Yeah, I thought it was funny. And then I haven't seen the new series he has. I guess it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Tires. I haven't gotten around to it.
It looks like it's an Office kind of deal.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So the Ham is my number 2, and 3, probably Steve Martin.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because he's done like 7 or 8 times now.
No, I think he's up to like
is he up to
13, 14, 15.
No
Yeah.
See, I haven't been watching one.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't hosted in a long time. Though I think the last time he did a co-hosting thing with Martin Short a few years ago.
Right. Okay.
Top 2. Yeah.
I thought when Eddie Murphy came back, that was a good show too.
That was a pretty good one. Yeah, because he had been like gone from he's like,
he was pissed off at David Spade.
Yeah, that was part of it. And then then another thing of it was like, he wasn't part of any of the Lorne Michaels years, so like Lauren's never been like, oh, well, I have Eddie Murphy I could call. Oh, I don't have that. He doesn't. Okay, all right.
Yeah. On your bio, there's an impression that you do really well. It says on your bio. Is it?
What does my bio say? I forget. I wrote the damn thing.
You wrote. I forgot the guy's name. That's why I was hoping to fill my blank. Sorry. What's that? Larry Smith says you do the best Michael Collins.
Oh, Michael. That's a bit I do. It's this. Right. I got this about 5-minute long bit where.
Filming with Michael Collins.
He is the 3rd member of the Apollo 11 mission that landed on the moon.
Okay.
I have this long bit called Space Boners about it. Well, the initial premise of it was about, I heard some comic talking about like, oh man, we got these cell phones. All we do with it is like look at porno on it. Oh, it's like barely a premise, but I'm like, there's something there. And then I realized like, cell phones are more powerful than the computers that were on Apollo that went to the moon.
Right.
So I'm thinking like, can you imagine being Neil Armstrong on your way to the moon? How long it took his porn to buffer? He's been there 4 or 5 days. He's got nothing better to do. But then another fun fact I know.
Yeah.
You can't get a boner in space.
You can't get a boner in space?
What?
That blew my mind.
Yeah. The lack of gravity prevents the blood from going to this head to that head. It just doesn't work.
No shit.
Yeah, you can Google it. Like, this is a true thing.
The astronauts try not to get into like space sex, be the first.
You can't. Yeah, it was like I mean, your blood pressure would have to be so high. There isn't a flight surgeon that will let you near a space shuttle if your blood pressure is that high. It's just impossible. But the conceit of the joke is on the moon, there's only 1/5 gravity.
Okay.
What does that mean? 1/5 erection if it's been 4 or 5 days in space.
Oh shit!
That's all you need.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Chubby, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if it's just a 5th, but you haven't had one in 5 days, you can do something with it.
Right.
It's like getting toothpaste back in the tube, but you can try. But then, like, there's this joke where, part of the bit is Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin jacking off up there, but like Michael Collins, the 3rd member of the mission, he's up in the capsule. He didn't get to land, so like, and there's other thing. It's like there was like a part of there's that show For All Mankind. It's an alternate history if the Russians had beat us to the moon, and they send up Apollo anyway, and it kind of has an accident up there, and like Michael Collins was like, I'm not coming back without my boys. So he was gonna like, and the conceit of that, he was gonna just stay up there and die if he couldn't get his friends back.
Right.
So like, but part of the joke's like, well, he's gonna check in with his buddies, his pals, his amigos. It's like, guys, what are you doing down there, guys? That's my Michael Collins impression.
That's funny. There could be a skit where the guy's up there with Michael Collins. He's looking at his watch. He's like, "Well, if they're not here in 12 minutes, I'm fucking going back."
Yeah, I'm going back. Like, we're doing this, guys.
Right. That's funny. Well, man, thank you so much for being on the show, dude. You're hella funny, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you come back anytime. Thanks for just short notice. I messaged you yesterday. You didn't really know who I was, and you came out, so I appreciate it.
I tend not to say no to a lot of things. Like if I've told you no, either I'm busy, something is important in my life, or you are way messed up.
Well, we got this show Saturday. But when's the next show?
Next week, it'll be. I won't be on the next week's show because I'll be in Florida at a bachelor party. Okay. Yeah, that'll be fun. But it is every Saturday night. You can check the website, southcitycomedy.com. I try to update everything on there. Also, facebook.com/southcitycomedy. A little more up to date on that. So give that a follow. Yeah.
Cool, and we have a lot of comedians that people in entertainment that watch this show. If they're interested in trying comedy out, just hit you up.
Hit me up. Yeah. If I don't know you, please send a video. Please do it and have it in front of a stage, in front of an audience. I know it's not. That's
what I was getting at.
I'm trying to put on a good show here for people to come and tell people about, to come back and watch.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
All right.
Definitely check out the TomBrown.com. I'm going to click on that one more time for people can see it.
Cool.
And there's the website right there. Yep. So thank you guys for watching the Daily Dirt with Dustin Diggs. We are out.
Woohoo!
The Daily Dirt with Dustin Diggs. The Daily Dirt with Dustin Diggs.